For today's part of the Game Wisdom Best of 2023 awards, this is the first one we're going to get a little bit weird in terms of genre conventions and details, as we're going to be taking a look at my favorite adventure games of 2023. In order to set kind of a line in the sand between best adventure games and best puzzle games, the games we're going to be talking about today have a focus on the story and kind of greater narrative, beyond just being about puzzles. Whereas for the best puzzle games, those will be those where the puzzle solving is the main gameplay loop or the main attraction, and the story is kind of second in that respect. For our first runner-up, we turn to the Forest Cathedral. This is a kind of short-form adventure, kind of a exaggerated story take on the genre, where you are playing as the scientist Rachel Carson, who's trying to uncover the effects of DDT. While that event certainly happened in real life, it didn't quite happen like this in the game, as you must use the power of 2D platforming in order to turn on objects, solve weird puzzles, and the game definitely has this kind of like Twin Peaks vibe to it. It is on the shorter side and definitely janky in some spots, but there's definitely something here if you're looking for a very different take on a real life story. And you don't mind the kind of strangeness of your little man running, jumping, and platforming, then there is something here for a very unusual afternoon. Our next pick for the run-up is Underground Blossom. This is the latest game from Rusty Lake, and in this short-form kind of adventure puzzle game, you will uncover the mysteries of yet another member of the strange family that seems to inhabit the Rusty Lake area. The game itself goes through different stations, each representing different time periods. There are, of course, a variety of puzzles. There are some advanced stuff that happens after you finish the game, and you'll be once again left with more questions than answers. It's still on the shorter side, and if you are a fan of the Rusty Lake games, then this is of course an obvious play. If you haven't played any of the other Rusty Lake games, then some of the stuff in this one may not really matter as much to you. And I would still recommend all the Rusty Lake games if you're looking for some strange adventure puzzle solving. And with that, let's get to our top 5, starting with the Bookwalker. This is a kind of adventure meets RPG style game where you have the power to literally jump into books and try to mess with their stories and get whatever items the author wrote about. The concept alone, it definitely gets it on the list. It is a very unusual game in terms of switching between kind of first-person exploration to isometric kind of RPG or CRPG design. This is a title that, again, kind of defies logic, and it's one where you'll either really love it for its quirks, or you'll end up hating it for it. But the unusual mix of design with its very unique story definitely gets it on the list for me. And now if you're looking for some horror with your adventure gameplay, we have Decarnation. You play as an aspiring dancer who, when you get an important message from a potential client, you are unfortunately kidnapped. And in order to survive and escape, you must dive deep within your own mind in order to find the strength and resolve to get out of it. The aesthetics and art in this game are really well done. There are some fantastic scenes and imagery throughout Decarnation. As I said at the top with the best adventure games, this one is more about the story first rather than the gameplay or the puzzle solving. There is quite a variety of modes and mini-games in it, but this is a game that you are going to be playing to figure out what is going to happen to our character rather than get into some advanced puzzle solving. I enjoyed this one, and it will definitely kind of keep you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end. So if you're looking for an adventure game that is certainly going to go, well, deep within your mind in order to figure things out, then this is a solid recommendation. We now turn to a game that came out very early in 2023, and that is A Space for the Unbound. A game that's set in 90s rural Indonesia. You play as 2 high school students whose high school is going to be ending soon, and also the world is coming to an end as well, quite literally. Something is going on with world reality shaping powers, and you must try and figure things out, survive the remaining days of high school, and pet lots and lots of cats. The story in this one is charming to like the nth degree, and I love the pixel art and the general aesthetics of it. This is by no means not going to be the hardest adventure or puzzle game you're going to be finding in this year, but a very heartwarming story that you're not going to be able to really figure out where it's going to go from the very beginning. With additional stuff to find and explore throughout the city, this is an easy recommendation if you're looking for a slice of life with a little bit of supernatural elements thrown in. And now we're back to some more horror, the game that's also kind of stretching the line between whether it's a puzzle game or an adventure game with Stasis Bone Totem. This is the sequel to Stasis, which was a isometric adventure kind of body horror in a very dark dystopic future. And in this one, we go from space to another not so happy place, and that is deep under the sea, as you must explore a destroyed and decaying refinery out in the water, trying to figure out what happened, why are things mutated, and solve a whole lot of puzzles. This one, unlike the other examples on the list, definitely is as much about story as it is about puzzle solving, with a lot of advanced and tricky puzzles to go around. But while you're doing that, you will also be exploring a very richly detailed and disturbing area, trying to find hidden death cutscenes as well, and definitely a game for someone looking for a very meaty game along for its story and its puzzle solving. And for my last pick of Best Adventure Game, we turn to The Many Pieces of Mr.Coo. This was, of course, the hand-drawn animated adventure game where you play as the lovely character Mr.Coo, who is just trying to get an apple to eat. But unfortunately, the fates and the world and all the other critters in it conspire against him. And you must solve puzzles, look at some beautiful animation and aesthetics, and try and make sense out of the strange and unusual world. Like Stasis Bone Totem, this is another game where the puzzle solving and the adventure design is very close to each other, with a variety of puzzles that all kind of fit within the unusual logic of the world. As I said in my review, the game unfortunately did ship with, unfortunately, some bugs and some issues involving kind of its porting. I do not know they have been fixed by the time you're watching this video. But if you love hand-drawn animation and a very unusual world, this is a definite pick, even with those bugs and issues. And that's going to do it for Best Adventure Games. Like I said, we'll have a Best Puzzle Game in an upcoming episode. Let me know what some of your favorites were from this year. Thanks for watching, and we'll see if things get any more confusing when we get to our next episode. That's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to do the YouTubing stuff people tell you to do. If you're interested in more of my thoughts on design, check out my books wherever they are sold. Visit our Discord and Patreon, and come back for daily discussions on game design here, and on game wisdom, where some of the art and science of games.